Yo, what's up everyone, Toshi here. Today we're going to be going over Silverwolf because she's going to have her first rerun next patch. I cannot wait for the arrival for this character again because I will be picking up some copies for the character because she genuinely has some of the best Eidolons in the game and she has one of the best, if not the best kit at E0. There's a lot to talk about, so let's go ahead and hop right into it. Now, quick TLDR, should you pull Silverwolf? Yes. Everyone should get this character at E0. I think she's very, very amazing. She is the best character E0, in my honest opinion. She functions at E0. You don't need any other thing. You don't need her light cone even, because her light cone is not even best in slot for the character in some situations. Now, as you do unlock more, things for the character, such as Eidolons, you get better stats for the character. Then yeah, her best in slot light cone will provide more value. But at E0, with just a speed and let's say HP build, energy regeneration rate rope, effect hit rate, then her best in slot light cone is a lot better, which is the 4-star option that we got. But if you're not, unfortunately you don't have the light cone, right? Maybe you logged in after that event, then just use other light cones that we have of the nihility path, right? This light cone isn't too bad on the character because it does decrease the enemy's defense by a further amount. But again, if you don't have this light cone either, just wait and see for what they throw it as when Silverwolf's banner does roll around, because maybe they'll be generous enough to give us another Silverwolf event. I don't think they will, but if they did, it's kind of crazy if they would do that, because then we would have 2 copies of the Silverwolf light cones. So it's kind of hard to see if they would actually do that. But just wait and see. You never know what the future may hold. Now, one of the best things about Silverwolf is the sheer flexibility of this character. You can put her in any team composition in the game, and she will find value in those team comps. I like using her a lot with single target damage dealers like Seal, especially because she does help the mono quantum team comp exist. So having her with Seal means that you can run other quantum characters and have a 100% chance of putting that quantum weakness on the enemy. Now, there is a different scenario in which the enemy has a weakness, right? That you probably have the element of that character in, like let's say Bronya, the enemy has wind weakness, and you still have a 100% chance. But in all scenarios, you'll have a 100% chance of landing a quantum weakness. That's why Silverwolf shines, especially in this team comp, but she's really good in other team compositions like this one. For instance, I use her a lot with Denham Biutonai because, as you all know, characters of the blast damaging category, such as Denheng, Daniel for short, does most of the damage to that single target, and then the side enemies take adjacent damage. So that means the brunt of Daniel's damage is going to be hitting that one enemy. So if Silverwolf is able to lower the resistances and the defenses of that single enemy, then Denheng Bibuto 9's damage is going to be increased massively, right? QQ really likes this character as well because just like Denheng, she has adjacent hitting damage and she has most of her damage hitting that single enemy. That's why she works really well with Silverwolf, and it just helps her that she ends up being the same element as this character too. Yangqing is another great example. He has only single target, a lot more different than Seal because Seal has the resurgence and she has the pseudo AoE because of that. Whereas Yangqing only does single target damage, so he takes advantage of Silverwolf especially because Silverwolf helps him get his single target damage to hit the highest threshold because of the ice weakness, and the fact of the matter is the lowering the resistances and the defense of that single enemy. Clara really likes that as well because she has adjacent hitting damage. She works really well with Silverwolf. If you have other characters of the same element, heck, even if you use characters like Seal in this team party, you can still get a lot of value because Clara is a character that is self-sufficient. So it just so matters that these 2 characters work together, but you can put other characters in this team that favor Silverwolf more because of the sheer flexibility of Clara. Now, here's the biggest kicker. We just made a video recently, the previous video, going over Zui, I'm going to call her XY, right? She is a 4-star destruction quantum character, and she will help you achieve the 4-star mono quantum composition. So, if you wanted to pick up Silverwolf, now is a great time because they're giving us not giving us a 4, so you have to roll for her, but we're getting another option to help us achieve the 4 quantum member, minimum requirement in order to getting that 100% quantum weakness, right? We get QQ for free. Lynx is a 4-star character. You will be getting her at some point. Maybe you already have her if you pulled on Fushuan's banner. And heck, maybe you already have Fushuan, so you can just replace Fushuan with Lynx. And then getting Zui, XY, I'm not even going to try to say her name anymore at this point. Then you'll have all of those characters, and this will become one of the most free-to-play friendly, if not the most free-to-play friendly, the most rewarding team, one of the most long-term viable teams. And it is very, very nice because you'll never have to change their relics ever. Now, one of the best things about Silverwolf is that she has debuffs that last for 3 turns. In Honkai Star 2 turn and 3 turn is a massive difference. 2 turns means you're going to have to refresh those debuffs on the enemy after that first turn because the enemy may not have those debuffs after they take their turn. Whereas in scenarios where it's 3 turns, you have another turn to work with. So therefore, you can save that skill point, just use a basic attack, and then you can use your ultimate or elemental skill again, because Silverwolf is a character that has her elemental skill and ultimate with a 3-turn duration on the enemy, all of which is very, very nice and makes her a skill point positive damage dealer, or a hybrid damage dealer, right? Nihility, hybrid damage dealer, offensive debuffing support character. Now, the best thing about this character is her weakness implant. This thing is going to absolutely just crush all contents you bring her in. This allows you to lower the aggro requirements because she lowers the resistance of the enemy, and she allows you to play around the weakness breaking system. The weakness breaking system is one of the strongest mechanics in this game because it allows you to just fundamentally ignore how the game is played, right? So essentially, if you have, let's say you have a team of quantum characters, and you put that quantum weakness on the enemy, if you have enough hits, then that enemy's action is delayed, and then you hit the enemy even more, and then they take damage whenever they take their turn, all of which does massive damage when you break their weakness. And furthermore, if you plan to play Silverwolf this way, then you can build her with break effect, which is going to enhance her damage greatly whenever you use her as a break character. Now, when we look at all the characters in Honkai Star Rail, Silverwolf is the first character that comes to mind when I think of the most long-term viable character in this game. The reason being is because she has 3-turn debuff durations, all of which lowers their defenses, lowers their resistances, is a skill point positive nihility character, right? And she has very nice damage. She has a weakness implant effect. There's no other character in this game that even comes close to just doing what she does. That's why she's still at the top of the tier list alongside Bronya, who is a character that is of the offensive buffing support category that pretty much acts like her a little bit, but just in a different way. I mean, they basically are the same character after all. Now, if you already have Silverwolf, getting some of her Eidolons is a game changer for the character. Getting her first Eidolon means you do not have to run her best on slot 4-star Lycone on the character. Instead, you can opt for something that gives more damage to the character, because whenever you use your ultimate and that enemy already has a lot of debuffs, you're going to get so much energy whenever you use your ultimate on that enemy, all of which is going to allow you to get your ult in those 3 turns. If you have Eidolon 2, then you lower the effect resistance of the enemy by 20%. This is a game changer for dot teams, because as we said previously in previous videos way in the past when Silverwolf first released, she's a character that enhances the damage of damage over time characters greatly, because dots benefit from having the enemy's defenses lowered and the resistances of that enemy lowered as well. So Kafka really loves Silverwolf. If you have Eidolon 4, which plays into Eidolon 6, you're going to turn her into a single target damage carry. She becomes one of the, if not the strongest single target damage dealer in the game, because this increases her damage greatly with the multi-damage stacking mechanic. And then this right here is extremely strong because she gets a 20% damage increase all the way up to 100% whenever that enemy has 5 debuffs. This is going to absolutely nuke enemies. You already have the quantum weakness on enemy. The enemy has lower defenses, and you're just going to absolutely delete him. It is crazy how much damage she does at this point. So when it comes to her build, this is how you'll play her if you plan to use her as a nihility debuffing, hybrid sub DPS character late game, which is how she gets most of her value, right? Because she has very nice multipliers. Well, you'll take advantage of Genius of Brilliant Stars because this is going to be best in slot for any character that has quantum damage, but is best in slot for most characters with Silverwolf. Silverwolf really likes this because she puts that quantum weakness on enemy. So this is pretty much a tailor-made set for this character. And then Inert Soft Soda is really good in the character because you deal massive damage with your ultimate. If you take into consideration, most of her damage does come from her ultimate. You're going to get more value if you just buff that ultimate instead of buffing the other parts of her kit that doesn't do as much damage. Just make sure you have enough effect hit rate because you want to always land your debuffs on enemy. I found around this range, 61%, has been very nice and very reliable for landing all of those debuffs. There is still a chance that the enemy resists, but this has been very nice for me while keeping the crit rate, crit damage, and the speed, and the attack, of course, right? Break effect you can just opt for instead of going crit stats, but again, you'll just do more damage late game with crit. And I guess we should just go ahead and finish it off with this. Should you roll Silverwolf instead of Argenti? Yes. If you don't have Silverwolf, I would go for Silverwolf instead of Argenti. No questions asked. How about Huo? Now, that's a tricky one, because if you already have a sustained character, if you already have a defensive option, like Jeopard, do you really need Huo? She does act as a harmony character, and we'll do more videos on this character, going great into detail about what she does and the value she brings to a team comp. But long story short, if you do not have a stain defensive option, then of course go for Huo Huo. But if you already have your defensive options and you don't have Silver Wolf, I would recommend picking up this character. She is amazing. That's going to be the video here. As you can tell, whenever it comes to characters like Silverwolf, Seal, Bronya, I have a lot to say. And the reason being is because these are characters that have very complex kits. They have a lot of intricacies in their kits. They have a lot of different ways of playing them, and they are the strongest characters in the game, right? Some of the strongest characters, that is. And then Bronya and Silverwolf being the two strongest, buffing, debuffing characters in the game. So there's just so much to talk about when it comes to Silverwolf, and I honestly haven't even covered more than half of it, right? Because we haven't even talked about her interactions with dot teams, for instance. But that's going to be the video here. We'll probably make another video on Silverwolf when her banner does roll around, just because I do love this character, right? She's one of my favorite characters to play around with, and like I said, I always have a lot to say. And we'll definitely test her out with Zui XY whenever that character does release, so look forward to that. Thank you for watching, and have a nice rest of your day. I feel like I had something else to say before I end the video, but I don't know. If I think of it, maybe I'll add it in as a blooper. Peace.